Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. Dara, did you want to live translate with me rather than through the Yep. Oh, she's on phone. Okay. Oh, she's got a new headset. There we go. Well, then send love out there to all our mighty companions with a big hug coming to you. We're so grateful and feel very blessed to have you join us in the only function that is, and that's seeing that joy's here. And I was laughing with Jesus this morning. He says, just ask me if you're going to be following the two-headed monster. Jesus, am I trying to follow that two-headed monster? See, it's two. Because when we're in the dreaming and the sleep, we don't see that we're following the two-head because we desire and experience ours. Or is this divine infinite expression? Oh my God, it's just showing me. We don't know it until he shows us really directly. Because we think following the two-headed monster around like a puppy is happiness, that we're in control. Oh my gosh, he just keeps reminding me how many times we have to say no to the two-head. Because we don't even see fear. We're not even recognizing when we're in a state of fear. Because we think fear, you run into the night. No, it's every time we say no to light, we're in fear. Every resistance, every twitch is fear. But so until we're willing, he just keeps pointing to stand into it directly and say yes to divine being, even though it doesn't feel good. See, the ego has an idea that it's going to feel good. No, the ego is making the feel bad about following the spirit. It's like we don't know our hearts. We've made a decision not to know what our heart is, light. And not follow that. And so we need those mighties. And having these deep talk with Jesus to see where we're bailing out on ourselves as the divine being. We don't even see where we bail from the light. That's why it's continuing. It's so helpful. Go to Jesus. Is this divine expression? It's just, is this it? Is this like that? And so until it's just all that relishing, hell relish. is washed out. The question is, will you stand into it? Will you accept how powerful you are? Are we willing to accept how abjectly, infinitely powerful we are? Because that's what it takes. Because we're so habituated, we're so addicted to carrying that beehive and thinking that's heaven and telling everyone how it's heaven too. No, this is really, that's why he's having to watch your thoughts, because so much of it is below the level of awareness till we start seeing, it's bees flying. So that's why it's two-pronged. That's why it's look with me and learn to listen to my voice and look at where how hell, and you just get curious. Like we don't even have to be guilty. It's like, that's interesting. I'm creative. I have a little hell factory going in there. And I need help. It's the most beautiful thing. When you start saying, my God, I need help on everything, you're in the God lane. That is the God lane right there. I need help from you on every single thing, Jesus. Then you're in the God lane. You'll see it. Because the moment we say, I'm just doing it, I see that I'm light, but it's always, I see that I'm light, but Jesus is going to be with me everywhere. Just ask him how often that card's used by the ego, not to follow light. Just check it out and just see. But they'll do the light test. Jesus, how often is it used, your name used, that you're with me always? When I just denied that you're right here in saying in the consciousness, using that sentence to deny that he's with us now. See, you can make a future out of Jesus too. The play will make a future Jesus. He'll be there. He will be there when I need him. No, you're it now. See that you're light now. So it just, like he says, every sentence in here can be twisted. Every single one. You can ask him, Jesus, will consciousness attempt to twist every line in this course? Yes, because it wants a timeline. Oh, Jesus, do I relish a timeline? Show it to me. Anytime you're not in supreme happiness, you're relishing the timeline. Whoa. Oh. Thank you for pointing that out this morning, reminding me. See, we don't know what supreme happiness is. We're so used to what the ego gives us. We think it gives us love, and we can cuddle up to it. That's the why when you see your light, it only lasts for a millisecond, the holy instant. But Jesus is saying, honor it, because we don't honor it enough to see that it's always here. Oh, that's interesting. We're light, like Muji. I love that what he says. You don't see what you found. He's saying you do not honor the light that you are. You know you're light. Jesus, do I know I'm light already? So do I really relish? I really like denying that I'm already that. See it. I think it was Renee and I this morning talking. I can't remember. I think it's Renee talking about the little golem down there. There's a little golem under there. Precious. You can ask Jesus, do I have a little golem down there going precious to all these little desires? So, then we can laugh about Gollum. He's adorable, but he's not happy. He's wanting. See how he's such a beautiful, thank you, Gollum. You know, that's what's crawling around inside the catacombs of our subconscious mind. Precious. It wants the precious. Wanting. See, it wants the precious. So till we go down there and kind of check out how the little golem that's down there. And so, oh, there is a little golem down there. Okay. But it's not me. And just keep releasing the wanting of Gollum's the two-headed monster choice. Jesus, we can ask him, Jesus, is the desire for choice a two-headed monster? It's the desire for a dream. See, it starts out as one little monster body, and oh, all of a sudden there's two. There's two out there, a me and a you. And whenever we start getting close, we'll sabotage our own. We're always close. It's here. Like, you don't have to step 1 inch to the left or right to see that it's here. But you do have to follow the stepping out assignments if you want it fast. But you just have to make sure you're following the right assignments, because the ego is going to give you plenty. that's another beautiful Muji saying, you're going to be tested because you like testing yourself. First of all, ego likes testing and miscreating. It's going to make you just seeing that you're light and volcanic activity, but you can still see that you're light. And then the ego will use light. Oh, I'm light. I'll be fine wherever I go. Just what I love about satsang, if you watch it, is it's such an opportunity to see the play in consciousness that we're all engaging in. I see that I'm light, but, and then Muji just cuts it. He cuts it. I call him the velvet axe. Everybody talk about being sliced by Guruji, getting the slice. It's not, he just serves the whole. So it's going to cut. It's like Jesus. I'm going to cut through with the sword. He's not coming through for battle. He's cutting through the untruth with the sword. Which voice is speaking? Hone that one skill. And so if someone stands up, he just cuts it. Which voice is speaking? And every time, every being knows, oh, that's ego. See, we know which voice is speaking now. But that's what it does. It comes up and it tells a story, and this is why this is going to work, and this is what I need to do. And it's arguing for effort. We're arguing with God to have effort. But it's beautiful because that's the sword that cuts delusion. Is the light saying that? Oh, when did the light say that? Is Jesus saying that? The question is, are we willing to have that level of uncompromise? Because we're just seeing where we're compromising for the other voice all the time. But what happens is we're saying it inside the delusionary idea. So all kinds of stuff comes out of our mouths while we're sleeping. And we're in the trance. And then it'll come out. And we don't even see that which voice we're following. So the breaking that sleep is constantly checking in with Jesus. Is this snoozing? Is this snoozing? Is this snoozing? It's hitting the wake up alarm rather than the snooze button and going, okay, I'm doing this. And then we just followed the two-headed monster. That's why I like training, to be so attentive to the light, what the light says. Because the ego will say something and make it holy. Ask Jesus. Jesus, do I have a desire for an experience for the ego to say something and I just feel that's holy? You don't know what holiness is till he shows it to you for sure. Because the conceptual, living in the conceptual realm of what holiness is, what joy is. It's the only question. Am I experiencing myself as infinite light right now? Infinite joy, infinite gratitude right this minute. No delay. And then the ego gets mad. Where's that? I don't want to get this joy because it desires not to be it. So it just gets to be no compromise. That's the only decision that can be made. Decide not to deny anymore. That's why we call it cease to denyment. But he just comes and cuts through it like Muji. Whose voice is speaking? That's whose voice is speaking. And we play like we don't know. See that we'll play like we don't know. And then we'll defend it. See, actions by spirit are undefended. That's why we have to follow him. Notice that, see how that play, he's going to make me do something I don't want to do. It's an immediate defense right here, right now. And see how it creates a future. He is going to make me, see, so it's a desire to have an experience of being coerced in the future. No, we're coercing ourselves right now. we're desiring an experience of feeling coerced. The coercion experience is occurring now. It's not gonna happen. I'm going to be, I desire an experience of feeling coerced because I like it. Then we can ask if we want to cut through it, you can go to that. Are you willing to hear my voice without compromise? Because it's your voice. Am I willing to hear my own voice without compromise and be shown really where I'm acting out of untruth? Because every behavior comes out of untruth. That's not aligned with the Holy Spirit. It just comes out of that desire to experience something other than truth. And then the ego defend, you see, it's going to defend, it'll create a past, because then we now can look back on whatever that was that we wanted to avoid. So we can make a past that happened in the past, and I'm not going to look at it. If I'll just focus on creating a future, so I don't have to focus on the past miscreation to see that they're both now. They're both simultaneous. They're just arising. And then we just ride the thought ride out into oblivion, because Jesus says the mind is asleep. We cannot even see where we're sleeping because we decide not to. So he needs to tell us. That's why that constant checking in with the light, it's breaking up the pattern of sleep. Is this divine expression? And then being so true to divine expression, it breaks that addiction to other. That's why we need each other. But the number of times the ego will say, I'm going to go do this by myself. I love it. I'm so grateful for Jesus bringing these thoughts into awareness. Because you can immediately notice, okay, let's just ask, which voice speaks that? See, we can start to catch it because he's given us the little dictionary, or the little translation of when this thought arises, what the ego means by it. It always means two-headed monster, but we just, because of the play. Until we can really recognize which voice is speaking and only speak that voice. And like Muji says, the ego is very impetuous. He doesn't say quite impetuous. He just says it's premature, but it is very impetuous. You can ask Jesus. Jesus, is the ego impetuous? So it's going to jump. It's going to jump. But it's pretending like it's a frog jumping out of a hot pot, and then it's going to be out of the hot pot. But what it's really doing is it's jumping into the next hot pot because we sided with weakness. We sided with weakness, but we're not weak. We're powerful, infinite beings. That's why I also appreciate Love Muji so much. Start with what you are. Start with light and see if the light's impetuous. Not impetuous, it's very patient. It doesn't know anything other than patient. It's really helpful. You can do the light test. Maybe we'll do that at some point with all the qualities of a teacher of God. It's been a while since I've looked at that, but I'm willing to bet that every single one of them is polite, patient, non-judgmental. Trust. Consciousness puts on an infinite smorgasbord of better. I'll be better when. I'll be happy when. I'll be happier. That's a fabulous one. Which voice is speaking the words, I'll be happier? We have to learn our own voice, God thoughts. I am light. I am truth. I am love. And then till the I falls away. Today's review includes the following. Okay, Jesus, we're in it. Lesson 55, we're going to stand into any denial that arises. Because we're powerful, infinite beings. That is so supremely happy. I am determined to see things differently. Jesus, does it take a lot of determination to see things differently? Because is this a clue that we're determined to have an experience where we don't want to see things differently? What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. Am I determined, Jesus, to see below my level of awareness? Am I determined to see signs of disease, disaster, and death? It's just not wanting to look to see that we experience disease, disaster, and death. The relishing, oh, give it to me. We're asking, that's the subconscious prayer. Ask Jesus. We just checking to see if there are any catacomb down in the catacomb of the mind down there. Do I have any prayers around disease? It's really like when he shows it to you, Jesus, do I really want to see? When I was looking, after I fell on my foot, and I said, he was telling me, you desired this experience. You really want to break your foot, but there's not enough. You start to see there's not enough beliefs anymore for that to happen. But it's still, there's like this little play. I'm asking him now, did I really like that play of falling down? He says, yeah, you really like it. Okay, I want to give that one. I'm going to give that over, ask for a miracle. Disaster and death. Disaster. Jesus, will you help me clear this from my holy mind? He says, let me show you, know nothing of these things. Oh, thank you. What a relief. Relief. This cannot be what God created for his beloved Son. Jesus, do I have a belief that it is created by that God, any little smidgen that God created this world of disaster and death and disease? I'm willing to see it. Just give it to me. So I can just, and then when he tells you no and it's cleared, you just see it. You just walk around with a little spark, with how you're meant to be, which is the sparkle. You're the sparkle of God. We're little sparkles going around. You see, instead of that hunting method, looking, and just start noticing the hunting. I'm going to find a way to prove that God is dead. See, it's happened seemingly so fast. then all of a sudden we're in the tree of delusions, like, and the bees are flying, but we like the bees, so we keep them around for a few days. Like I said, one time I was so mad, right, at someone because I didn't want to see. Jesus said, yes, what Jesus was showing me, how he was showing me, okay, you can have this bundle of thoughts, so you can have infinite here over here. So then the play, you'll notice that, just start noticing after you have this really expansive experience. Oh, wow. The next moment, you're just going to want to kill somebody, because that's the way consciousness plays, to hide. Or I think I've talked about, I had a couple of really expansive, oh my goodness, but I didn't even see it. You don't even see when you're in this full experience because it gets covered over so quick. Like seeing that I was the broom kind of thing. Well, and then I spent 3 days in bed throwing up. I'll ask Jesus, I'll be honest. Yes. Was that existence? Yes. Do you want to join? Why don't you come join? No. I go join. But I was willing to look with Jesus, definitely, at every single scrap. But you have to, it has to be every single scrap. And usually ego's not willing to do that by itself. It needs that help. You have to be like 100% in. That's the only, with Jesus, 100% in. And until you are, it's helpful to have those mighties. It's always helpful to have them. But in terms of, like he says, once you hear my voice 100%, you're willing to follow, you just go. But if you're not hearing it 100% of the time, then you got to hear it through your brother too. And you hear it through him anyway, but then you're not, you're getting everything, you know, it's, you're the happy learner, because it, every opportunity you're like this, oh, okay. Because you know, you start to see that that joy is infinite underneath any desire. So you start releasing these things with them. He takes the catacomb and release it, and you just start noticing. It's like so beautifully said. When Linda and Mona were talking about, maybe we'll get that up on their little expression about chapter 20. We're going down there. There's nothing under there. There's just light under there. You know, it's like, boy, you will see the ways in which the spirit, the consciousness does not want to look at chapter 20. Oh, because it's fast, you know, and we like the timeline. So that's why some beings are just gonna, you know, whoa. And to just ask Jesus, is it for everyone? Well, it's for me. That I can say that for sure. Because you see, when he starts talking to you, how helpful it is. And then you do start going to him for everything. Then you can relax. This cannot be what God created for his beloved son. Jesus, am I playing like I'm not God's beloved son? The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. Oh, let's take that all the way to the fact that we see disease, disaster, and death. Like you start seeing these sentences, and like when you're in the happy learner is like, oh my God, it's infinite, you know? Not to look upon those things is true. To see infinite in everything, even Jesus on the cross. I mean, oh, see the love in it. See only the love in all things. This will lead you, he's saying, I see it. It will lead you to the unspeakable. The unspeakable one. You see the relishing of it, admit it. So you don't have to pretend you see God in it. Don't do that. He says, no, don't pretend like you see God in it. Know that you don't, and be with the relishing of not seeing God in it. See, then you'll go through it. And the love behind it is just, you'll see what you don't want to see, because it's not, it's the last, he's taking us to the last unanswered question. Am I willing to see what I have denied because it's true? Am I willing? He'll take you. So yes, there's all kinds of paths and, all kinds. And it's really helpful when you hear Jesus. And it's so comforting and infinitely happy when you hear Jesus in your heart going, this is the one for you. Yes, all kinds of things. Smorgasbord of consciousness. This is how you wake up. Techniques, everything. Okay, maybe. But he would tell me so repeatedly, this is the one for you that's most helpful. I mean, just the joy of it. The comfort. He's offering us comfort. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. So I asked Jesus about that one. Let him show that bloom. If I'm seeing the slightest bit of disaster and death, he says, you cannot see God in that. You believe that that is true in one little smidgen. I'm willing to give every smidgen to you, Jesus, really. See, we have to do it without exception. It's a must. It has to become a must. See, when following God is the must, that's supreme happiness. That's the peace that surpasses understanding. That's infinite. That's the way we see we never left home. The home's right here, but we're pretending like it's not and holding up the protest sign. The play of consciousness is not to see the protest sign sitting on God's lap saying, I feel resistance. It's going to arise because it's part of the play, but we just start to see what it is, the resistance. And we believe that sitting on God's lap is the path to hell. Ask Jesus. Oh my gosh. I do not understand God. Therefore, I also do not understand his son. Okay, let's ask him. You start to laugh because you know what he's going to tell you already. Jesus, do I relish not understanding God's son? I mean, relish it. Therefore, not understanding myself as the light of divine being. Okay, I admit it. Just put it out there, What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. Am I willing to admit? See, that's the link that has to be made in consciousness. The link between seeing disaster, the desire for the experience, and admitting, as long as I believe this, it is a desired experience not to know who I am. That's why we need him to take us all the way when we're having an experience to the death wish. See, because in between seeing it, like, oh, I do want that, and the ego's going to go all the way down and go, it's heaven. It's right to keep it, instead of going all the way. Is this a death wish down here? Is this expression? I'm keeping it because I believe heaven's in it. See, and then the rocket gets almost all the way to look. Ooh, let's not look at that. That's why he's building that trust with us on chapter 20 to go and keep going. Oh, I desire. Oh, I desire, so we can let that energy, and then he can take us down all the way to, holy smokes, I think absolutely there's heaven in that thing. No wonder it was hanging out in hell so much. I thought there was heaven in it. I thought there was heaven in not knowing who I am. Ask him. Jesus, do I believe there's heaven in not knowing who I am? That'll generate a timeline. Oh, man. Oh, you feel the smoke rising. I am determined to see with the witnesses to the truth in me. Yes. See, so now we're determined to look for the witness. What witnesses to light? It's the pointers. The witnesses in you are these course lessons. Those are witnesses. He's given you witnesses. He's given your brother is the witness to the light in you. Because they're going to come along and see more light than you see in yourself, and you need that. They're going to, they're not going to let you be weak. Not let you, but they're going to call you not to be weak. They're going to call you to your power, because that's you calling you to your power. That's not somebody outside you calling to your power. And that's you calling you into the power of infinite light. I'm determined to see the witnesses to truth in me rather than those which show me an illusion about myself. Do not underestimate how much those illusions are relished, how deeply they're relished, how deeply they're protected. We don't want to let Jesus into the dream bubble. Ask him. We'll let him in a few little spots, we'll let a little crack of light in certain areas. But unless we're willing to do it without compromise, then the compromise is that hell will just keep showing up on the timeline. We find, it has to be like that decision. No, we are going home. Like on Apollo 13 movie we watched. The symbols, it's the symbols, not of saving bodies, but of the dedication and the focus, because we're so used to be dedicated on staying in the play. And just the coalescing of beings, like coming together. It's just a great metaphor for what we're doing. Except the rocket ship is coming to look directly at the denial so that we just zoom right on past it. Rather than, look at the smorgasbord of consciousness and see, okay, let me see where I can find a distraction. Because boy, those will play. There are millions of them. We can see them. We've been playing them our whole lives, playing distractions and defenses and little puppet shadow sword games. What I see is a form of vengeance. We can watch that movie V for Vendetta, but one twitch is vengeance. One twitch is vengeance against ourselves. That's humbling. So we can see, it seems like a character's out there and he's sword fighting and killing and bodies are falling. When we can see it, that it's not real. See, we fall into just a movie on a screen, but it's good light training to see where we're falling into the dream, like we relish that. What I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. Okay, I'm willing to see it. Just give it to me, Jesus. And you'll see all he really ever gives you is love. It's an expression of saying, okay, give me the truth. That's supreme happiness. That's the turn. Give it to me exactly. I'm willing to look. It is a picture of attack on everything by everything. Oh man. He's pointing, saying, am I attacking myself when I do not follow you? See, that's how attack was maintained. So you can just ask when you're doing something, am I maintaining attack in this? Oh, that's the ego doesn't want to see that. I won't ask that question. Yeah, he says it takes a lot of light training to ask that, be willing to ask that question and see the truth in it. Did I just attack myself? By not following, you're attacking yourself. He's direct. Wow. It is anything but reflection of the love of God and the love of his Son. It is my own attack thoughts that give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace of God intended me to have. He says, give up this attack. Give it to me so you can see it's not real. It doesn't serve you. Let me give you the thoughts that are yours. They're already yours, but you haven't wanting them. So you need to ask me to give them back to you, to exchange them for the ones you've chosen, that deny all the love the Father has for you. I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. We need a straight talking Jesus, don't we? Really. Because we're kind of whinging. Because the play of conscious kind of whinge. And we need straight talking Jesus right now. I do. I need him to give it to me straight. I'm thankful that he does. It saves time. He says it just saves time when I can just talk to you directly and you just listen, and then you're the happy learner. I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation and nowhere else. Oh my God. Not following is keeping the attack thoughts. We just don't see that. The consciousness plays not to see how not following without exception is keeping all the attack thoughts in play. Wow, that's just so deep. Without attack, it's defending attack thoughts. He's saying, yes, he's saying when you don't follow, you're defending your own attack. Just notice that when you go and you give an instruction, you're going to get attack, you're going to get doubt thoughts. It's just how consciousness plays. You know, like, don't get on that boat. There's no life preserver kind of stuff. There's no, you're going to die. It's going to be horrible. You know, and that was another thing in Bali. You know, it's still in the very tentative. And again, it was another motorcycle ride or tour around the island. And he knew that I just love, you know, in the play of God, he just used attraction to get us through this stuff, I tell you. Because I was riding around and we stopped this place to go snorkeling. And I'm tiptoeing. Now, thankfully, just going, I'm not sure. Now I was a swimmer. I swim, you know, it's like, it's not swimming. It's not wanting to see we're light, you know. I've had the training. It's not a problem, but it's tentative. What I was really afraid, oh my God, he's showing it to me. He's showing it to me directly. You're afraid of getting on that boat with your brother. See, you're afraid of your brother. See, as a symbol of God. Oh my God, this is going to put me in. It's put me on my knees, Jesus. This is how he brings these things back into our awareness so we can see them in wholeness. The full Monty. So it's tentative, but thankfully he sent along a mighty, the guy that was driving the motorcycle. See how we need our and he goes, of course you can go snorkeling. It was about 300 yards offshore. I could see the tentative idea, right? But it's like, okay. And I went, and let me tell you, unbelievable. You know, how he's showing you're not going to die. Look at this, like fish. I think I've talked about going diving and snorkeling, and, you know, you go in Florida and it'll be like 5 fish swim by. They're like needlefish. And, you know, I have a picture. I'll post it out there. You can see. I had my little camera in a plastic bag or something. Took a picture. So, but it was, and then the guy on the boat, he gets out of the boat and he holds on to me so I won't drift. So I can just, I mean, come on. That's what, every time we don't follow, it's not about the form. It's to look directly at where we're saying no to ourselves. We're not trusting our brother. Do you see? We're not trusting our brother, or we're not trusting ourselves. Tentative. Years of swimming, right? But still, I could look out there and an idea arose that that thing's about 300 yards off the beach. You know, the idea I won't be safe. And look how, and you get gently carried. You got the guy getting off the boat, gently holding my leg. So I would stay right there and just, whoo, thank you, Jesus, bringing that one back. But like, until we really trust our brother, I knew it was, you could, there was a part in here that knew that was trusting. That was like a trust step. And that's what he does. He gives us these little steps. And then after the snorkeling, scuba diving. That's the next step. What a great way he brought me. Let's see where we are now. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace of God intended me to have. See, the hilarious thing about this, when the next prompt comes, we'll forget every one of these. Every one of these miraculous, they're not miraculous, time and space rearrangements, where he has the opportunity for us to show us that all is well, you know. But it's a great metaphor, you know, going around on the islands and just following each thing. You know, at first I just wanted to stay in my room and hide. I'd kind of tiptoe out. That's just the play until he, you know, gradually, okay, now you can do this, you can go out there. That's how afraid we are of the world. Oh my God, he loves us so much. I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I could see a world of attack. No, I could not see a world of attack. Without attack thought, I could not see. How about that? Like, no way to have attack like light. The light doesn't know what attack is. But we relish going around looking over our shoulder. Ask Jesus, do I relish it? Yep. As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. I can breathe. We are tired. Because we don't even, to just start noticing the number of times you're holding your breath. You know, that's the twitch. He's saying that's a twitch. You're guilty for breathing, for crying out loud. For guilty for breathing. Every time I twitch, you know. I will see, and it is this I choose to see in place of what I look on now. Thank you, Jesus. I would not perceive my own. I do not. Okay. Do not perceive my own best interest. That's what we don't have. That's ask Jesus. Do I have a desire not to admit I do not perceive my own best interests? That's why we join on decisions. See, whenever we go off and do a decision by ourselves, you'll see it. You'll start to see the play of it. I do not want to perceive that I do not perceive my own death. Interest, ask Jesus about it so you can laugh. Because when you're in perception, see, remember, we're so down into that dive, into that bubble like this, going, oh, I relish this perception. And if it feels good to me, no. Does it feel infinite to you? That's the question. Not about feeling good or bad. I'll feel good. That's pleasure and pain like this. It's like, is this infinite, Jesus? Rocket ship out. Is this infinite? How can I recognize my own best interest when I do not know who I am? We're trying to find out who we are by diving into the middle of the dream bubble. Just like, ask them. So we're not following them. We're wanting to dive deeper into the dream bubble. That's all it is. Like, of course, nothing bad happens. It won't. It's not possible because you're infinite light. It's not going to. It's just a dive, and it's siding with weakness into the dream bubble. Okay. And then all this kerfuffling down there. And then we start going, why am I suffering so much? Because I just dove into the pool of death, down in the dream bubble. What I think are my best interests would merely bind me closer to the world of illusions. We ask them, Jesus, do I have a desire for an experience where I feel my best interests are served in the dream bubble? That's enlightening. Yeah. I am willing to follow the guide God has given me to find out what my own best interests are. And that's another good question to ask them when there seems to be a decision and it comes up. See, don't move on a decision. Don't move on it until they talk to Jesus about, or join with the mighty to clear everything. Make sure it's like a whistle, because the ego will move on it and then give all the reasons why that was the right thing to do. Just stay still and then just confirm with Jesus, is this a dive into the bubble? See, then we don't fall for our own delusions anymore, recognizing that I cannot perceive them by myself. See, that he's saying, come to me for help. And I'll point, and then it's the rocket out, standing into the no. I do not know what anything is for. Jesus, do I like knowing what things are for? Do I have relish knowing what things are for, like with everything? And you go until he says you're clear. I'm clear of knowing what anything's for. Then stuff comes out of your mouth, but it's not, it's just infinite expression. It's not trying to convince. It's not trying to tell a story. It's just love. And that's the way God lets you know he loves you. It's okay. He's not holding the world against you. You're holding the world against yourself. To me, the purpose of everything is to prove that my illusions about myself are real. He must be needing to hear. I must be needing to hear about not following, because he keeps saying, see, when you don't follow, you're following the proof that the world is real. Wow. Let's dive into the bubble rather than this way. It is for this purpose that I attempt to use everything, everyone, and everything. It is for this that I believe the world is for. Therefore, I do not recognize its real purpose. The purpose I have given the world has led to a frightening picture of it. Let me open my mind to the world's real purpose by withdrawing the one I have given it, and learn the truth about it. To be the happy learner, way out. Yes, Jesus. Yes, 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 yes. Ego. No, 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 no. Whose voice is speaking? And going through the, bursting out of those rings of no, just by going to desire. Oh, I want this. Okay, I can just burn it out. It'll just burn out in the light. Okay, let it arise. See, do the light test. Then it's a fast trip because then it's all burned in the light, leaving only what remains, which is light anyway. And you'll be going, and we're going, wait, let me see. Like I've been fighting what? Who's fighting? Like Jesus says, you forget all of it. It doesn't, like Muji says, you're focusing on light because then you see, wait, I'm that. What am I arguing with? Who's arguing? What's the argument about? Nothing. Thank you, Jesus. So we'll just spend the 2 minutes. This is the full on go for Jesus today. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Just we want these lessons not 99.9. See, that's the ego's gonna go, well, if I get the lessons 99.9%, no, Jesus, we're going 100% all in. We're valuing supreme happiness. Oh, beloved, Jesus is reminding me we have to catch the play that right before infinite is going to be all this, the most screaming and yelling. Just go in. Just turn in to see, what is this anyway? Just get curious about, is this real? Am I going to blow up or something? It was so great, to have that expression and be reminded this morning about that, because that'll come up, that feeling, and just see what it does. It's like, okay, you finally get to the point, okay, let myself just blow up and see see if the light gets impacted. You start getting grateful for everything, you go, oh, I can look with Jesus about that, can I? That's happiness. That's so much happiness. Thank you, Jesus. So I'd like to see if Lori, if she's feeling the spark to come sing. Either way, it's just wonderful. We totally honor wherever her heart is. She feels good. Okay, she's feeling it's guided. Let's have her rock our worlds in. Thank you, Lori. We love hearing you sing. It just lights joy. Let's just do a little bit of setup here.
Hola, Jiminy Crickets. This song's title was just changed during this light circle. It was called Be Still. And it's now Raise a Glass. God, how will you move me? How will you heal my restless heart? What is my remedy? Truth be told, a world forgiven cannot last. Hey, oh, I receive your mercy. Hey, oh, I receive you, golden grace. Don't you dare look back, look right here and now. There's no place you'd rather be. Brother, where art thou? Been forgiven somehow, standing in front of me, tenderly. Hey, oh, I receive your mercy. Hey, oh, I receive you, golden grace. Hand over the blindfold, boxing gloves, lipstick shades, burn the mask in the attaché cases. The battle will never be waged. The soldierless truth offers no response. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight anymore. See illusion melting away. Hey, oh, I receive your mercy. Hey, oh, I receive you, the gift of grace. Subsiding away, I raise a glass to you. Slip sliding away, be still. See illusion melting away. The old is passing away. The old is passing away. So be still. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be still.
Thank you, Jesus. Glory. Wow, off the rails again. We're jumping off the rails because the ego runs, it thinks it owns the track. But Jesus is going to take us off to that rail to hell, the highway to hell, so we can ride the straight track, the rocket to God, to see that we've been sitting there all along. And then we can just laugh at it. We can laugh at it all, that it couldn't happen, that we could ever be separated from infinite light of being. So we're holding it hands and we're jumping in and going all the way together. Thank you for taking us home, Jesus.